Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Thursday. So, okay, I'm still working on the pilot house, so we're going to get back to work on that and transfer over to the monitor here for this. Last night was kind of a frustrating evening. I had a lot of problems with a specific glitch, and it wasn't any fun pertaining this particular model. So we're now finally kind of back on the track with this thing. I'm going to crank up the music here, but kind of feeling like I want to go back to what we were doing before with the Winamp. And the major reason for that is because I feel like we're having a problem with hang on real quick. Bring that up. So what Ken and I were talking about last night was that it looks like somebody has decided to claim our music so that they can try to get our monetization, but their music's all coming from Restream. So I'm putting in complaints with Facebook, but I'm not getting a lot of ground. And I'm kind of the opinion that at some point in time, the problem is that until the claim is resolved, it's muting part of our show. At the moment, it's not muting any of it in the countries that we actually have viewers in, but it's only, I feel like, a matter of time before it mutes it here in the United States and in Japan and in Thailand and in Brazil. And when it does, then like you guys who actually join our show, like Hone and like Ghost Hand, they'll start seeing it disappearing, blocks of the audio that's out. And even if we're not monetizing it, even if we're not getting any money, I feel like that's a problem. So I don't want to mess with that. I don't want that to be a thing. So we're going to do something about that. In the meantime, we're back here working on this guy, which may or may not actually probably better do this and drop that a little. And what I'll do is we're looking at this as part of what we're kind of looking at here is how does this room work, right? I feel like I could take this part here and make like a control podium sort of thing. We'll do that, kind of bring it up to the roof here where it's, at least this is locked in to some degree. Kind of get the idea on how this is working. So gives it kind of a cool effect on this side. Looks good. I'm going to naked mode here and grab this guy, move him out and then down so that he's part of the roof line, right? I don't want him to drop out of the roof line completely, but it'd be nice if he was just part of the roof line there. All right, I'll do the same thing to this guy here, but I'm going to bring him up. Anything I do that brings it out of the roof is going to be kind of complicated and difficult to deal with. But I like the idea that it gives sort of an arch to what's going on up here, right? I can bring this down a little bit and make it match sort of the window here, this forward window. So now we've got kind of a pillar here with a little like back room sort of thing where we're going to put in a console here. But the problem is I'm going to have to make a console that fits, because our console currently is flat faced and it's going to need to be tilted in like this to match that wall. And I'm kind of wondering whether I even need to. This is where the thinking part comes in, where I'm like, Right. So this front part is more like in my head, very much like the cockpit of, say, a B-17 or a B-29. You've got your pilots up front. You've got radio operators and engineers right behind, and these two spots that are on either side. And they're delineated only by a small structural piece so that in case anything happens, they've got at least a little bit of protection from that front window and stuff like that. But really, it's more just aesthetics, not much else, right? So kind of looking in here in this manner here, there'll be a back wall right here and a door right here. Then we're going to put in this radio room right here and the in-space navigation room on the other side. And that's kind of what we're looking for here. Work. And I feel like this is good enough for right now, and then I'll just figure out how to put consoles in. We may have to kludge it a little, and we'll figure that out. Because what I want is a seat with a console chair in here. Right. I feel like I can really only get one of these in here. Like the other one's not going to fit unless I make them very small. And maybe that's not bad. Mm-hmm. All right. There's a lot of walls and pieces in this, so it's kind of complicated. And it's more complicated because what you can't see on here, because of the fact that we're using this, is that there's this little triangular closet right here, which is it's a power transfer hub where power is coming up into the cockpit to be distributed around the outside in the harness. And so it's accessible from the front, from right here, if you need to get to it. But it's still kind of like one of those, it's complicated. So, anyway, I'm trying to kind of figure out how this space works. I'm finding this to be complicated in of itself here. It's hard to kind of get all these pieces to work together. A lot of pieces in this. Hmm. I'm thinking that what I can probably have here is a series of. Now, the idea here behind this, by the way, if you're all wondering, is there's a panel here, two control panels here, and then one turned this way so that the chair sitting here can just pivot in a circle and have various control consoles at their disposal depending on what job they're performing at this time. And with an open floor plan concept, I'm also feeling very much like this isn't as good as it. So I'm actually feeling like what we should have is cabinets up here and an open table right here. And that would solve a lot of problems because a table wouldn't take up that much space right here. And we could easily add it to the things in here as part of this. And then I can just put in the normal roll cabinets that we've got as another piece of furniture in there. And that would be fine, I think. So that's what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to go on ahead and add that. So we're just going to put a table on this side. And then this will be back walls, and that doesn't matter. There'll be a door here, so that won't be an issue. And then the radio room will be its own problem. The two command chairs there, the navigation chart area, and then right back here will be a position for someone if they need to man this area. And this would be maybe a flight engineer right here. So you'd have a pilot, a navigator, flight engineer, radio operator, and then the captain can be here at the chart area if she needs to for whatever reason. If they're having some kind of problem. So let's go ahead and add in a table for that. Whereas before I had been very careful to not add things in here that weren't needed in this particular instance. We're going to do that now. We're going to actually go ahead and work that problem as it is. So all of these are the interior pods of this, and I'm getting more and more to the idea that these are all going to be singular and not multiple like they are here. So we're going to kind of work. What is this? It belongs up here. What are you? You know where you are. You know where? Oh, I know where you are. All of this we don't need. It's all going to be black. It's all black areas around the various parts of the space piece that we don't need. So the one thing we don't have plotted out here is that there is in this, we go to object mode and we grab this guy, we bring him over. Biggest problem is right smack in the center of this is an open window to the top. And I'm trying to figure out whether I should just poke a hole in it and then hope that the Boolean works. Because that actually now looks kind of cool and works really well. And I like the idea. It's kind of a skylight and stuff. So really am kind of digging it. I think that's probably what I'm going to do, is just poke a hole in the top, which is going to compromise the mesh a little bit, but will probably be better than what I've been kind of thinking of doing with it anyway. So I'm kind of okay with it. This is me kind of wondering whether I shouldn't just make it a big black hole. What are the odds of people looking out up? Right? Monkey people don't look up. Because that's a docking window for docking upward. doesn't happen that often. Okay, well, I'm not going to mess with it. We're going to build ourselves a table over here, a charting table, and we will make that happen. So add a cube, right? And we'll edit. We'll go here. Let's put this thing in naked mode. All the way over. Bring this up. Bring it in here. We're just going to go ahead and take a look at it here. Okay, so knowing we have it's a table space, so we're going to kind of do this in a way. We will do, and it will be a good way. Okay, so let's look at the top here. That's a long table. Right, so we'll go like this. It does not have to be a complicated table. So what we'll do is we'll bring it in like so that it has a little bit of space aginess going for it. We'll grab the top. Right, we'll grab the bottom actually. Let's grab the bottom. And we'll make the foot of the table. So there's the foot. Right, it's space ag. It's space table. Space table. A space table needs to be about 1 meter tall, so because all of our tables are just a little over 1 meter. So we'll put it to here as space table is. So there we go, a little over 1 meter. We can make it space table by doing this and doing this, because any table that naturally has a V to its foot is obviously space table-y. I'm sure that makes sense in our own world. So I'll do the same kind of thing here. I'm going to extend out like so. Extend out like so. This allows a few things we're going to do. First thing we're going to do is extend out from the top. We're going to just boop, right? And this is so that we can have something to really screw up our charts. We're putting charts in this table. Don't do that. Okay, never mind. I thought it was a clever idea, and then I realized I was being stupid. So extend out to the side here, like this. And then we will do the same thing on this side. We'll extend out to this side as well. Right? And then we'll click. Click, click, extend out like so. Oh, click, 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 and again we'll extend out like so. You can always tell it's a space table because this whole table is somehow supported by viewers like you. We'll make a slight indent on each one of these, thus making it space table. And when we look at it like this, it's just going to look like an octagonal table, right? So it should be just fine. For space reasons, should it be a bar? It should be like a bar. I think it should be like a bar. So we're going to readjust it a little. Got to go into naked mode. Otherwise, you don't click the guys on the bottom. There. So the reason I'm choosing that is because then it can fit more like a bar. At which time we can offset this, make it even more of a space table. All right. I'm going to place it in place. And I'm going to take a look at where that is in placement. Because we don't want it in the way, right? So it can't go past, say, this main line right here, which is fine. So then we'll move it this way into space table land. I'm really into the space table. All right, so now it's in the chart room area. I'm gonna move it back until it's here. And this is gonna be where we have to match it up with the wall to make it sit on the wall properly. So we'll do this. We'll go into naked mode on the top and look down on it. And you may be wondering, if it's in the wall, why am I being so careful about making sure it fits perfectly? And the answer is, if I don't do it like this, then I won't see it in the shape on this side over here, where I need to see the actual shape, so that whenever I draw a black line, I want to put a black line right here so that you can clearly see that there's a line. And I want to put a black line here and a black line there so that the shape has delineation. It's got to look like a hand-drawn spot. So we're going to do that. So here we go. We've got a chart table that sits right there. Feel like if we moved it forward, you could put chairs at the back of the chart table instead of just somebody's butt, right? So if you put a chair back there, somebody could sit at the chart table. So I feel like that might not be a bad idea. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's grab the whole table here. And we'll move it forward. We're just going to move it into this spot right there so that it's aligned with that, this right there. We'll move it then out because, of course, it's going to be just a little bit displaced. So let's go ahead and do that. Everything still looks like it's lined up fine there. I do have a problem with the fact that it's not lined up along the bottom like so, but I'll go in here real quick. And we'll do this, and then we can do that, and that won't be a problem right there. Good enough that people will think that, or at least it will look like it's connected properly. Okay, so now we can put a chair back here so somebody could sit at the chart table if they need to. Okay. Now we're going to pull this all out because we need to see the chart table there. There we go. And this side doesn't need to be very pretty. We'll make it out here, but really, it's just black like that. We're never going to see the underside unless somebody's crawling. And even if somebody's crawling underneath there, you'll still see it just as black, right? So we don't need to worry about that. All of this is in a wall or facing a wall or something, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so we've got a chart table. Now let's take a look at what we got. We got a chart table up there in the front, so you can put a chair or two behind it. You put a chair on the other side. It's an open area. The radio room will populate with equipment. We'll put chart holders up here, maybe a bookshelf or something there. So we'll populate this, but we're going to populate it with something completely. We're going to populate it with the things over there. So I'll put a locker back here. We've got lockers, things like that we can put back here. So we can populate this scene just fine with bits and pieces. What we need is the frame. If the frame works, we're fine. Okay, so let's go over here and let's just organize everything because everybody is over here now. What I need is room for this to come up into this part here. So we're going to try to select as many pieces of this as possible. And these guys can just all be moved over here temporarily until I get all of this moved up into this zone. So we'll do this. And then we will do like so. And it is roughly the right size, but I'm still going to make it slightly larger. All right. Table can probably be put into something. So, I mean, I could put it like right here. It does fit pretty well, like in this zone-ish. But it could also fit down here if I wanted to kind of do something about that. But it also needs to be roughly the same size as everything else in here. So I'll have to figure that out. What's going to end up happening is these guys are going to have to start fitting into places like around and near and through. Like up here. trying not to shrink them if I could avoid it, but I think I'm going to have to shrink some of them. So we're just putting together bits and pieces where we can, and we're just going to put them where we can when we can. If they take up less space, it's better. So we're going to do that. Move this sideways so it's like this. This actually almost fits perfectly right there. We don't have to do any more. That works. All right. These guys then all can just be black, and they're going to be on top of what's already just black, which is the other side of the... So this is going to be my black pool, my black hole here. It's going to be like work all the way down. All of these pieces are not important. So the fact that they're all on top of one another, they're either inside pieces between two walls, or they are on the outside of the hull, where I don't care. It doesn't really matter. But I probably should enlarge it so that I know what it is. Otherwise, I'll be like, what that? Why does it do that? I don't understand. What did I do? Why do you do that to myself? All right. Now that we've done this, this is the thing. So we're going to export this layout. And the important things we want to make sure is that all UVs and modified, it's 3000 by 3000. We're going to then call it, we're going to go into here. We're going to go to interiors, interior textures. I'm going to go to the Kittiwake. We're going to call this the flight control pillar. No, we're going to call this the pilot house. It's the most recent one. Forward beak windows. That's what they're called. Forward beak windows. So it's really the forward beak windows. Okay. Now that we've done that, we're going to go over here. We're going to go to object mode. This right here. We're going to export this. Just this piece. So I'm going to say export. I'm going to go to wavefront to object. And all control things go all the way up to monitor 1 all the time. Pilot house beak windows. It's already what it is, right? It is what it is. All right. Now going over here, we're going to delete this because we can't. This is obviously not going to help us. So now we're going to say import. We're going to start all over again. Pilot house beak windows, right? So we're in the interior Blender files. Pilot house beak windows. At 10,000%, it was pretty close, but not quite. So at least it made it easier for me to get to this point, which is about 10,000%. Guess it's 1,000%. So we'll move this forward. We need to be able to have Mayrel look to the right and to the left and come out this window, right? So the perspective view, she has to be able to look this way out a window, or this way out a window, and this way forward, right? And I'm kind of feeling like even where we are here, kind of want to put these crash couches closer to the center line. So top view. First of all, let's make sure this guy's centered before I start center lining stuff. Center line. Right, perspective view. So she should have a clear, absolute clear view out the front of the vessel. And now that I've added these extra walls, I also sort of feel like now I kind of understand Why? So this is we'll call this pilot's couch. And it's not. Actually, it's the left seat. So this is the right seat. So this is navigation. This one's the pilot couch. What I need to do, she's temporarily in the navigation spot, but that's okay. Because now we can move this over, because I think here is fork. We need that flight control pillar as well. Oop. Move this guy to here, because I think that's actually probably better. Dead center in the middle of this window. Makes sense. This gives us enough space for them to get into the seats in between. Front view. Let's go back view. Back view. There we go. So we'll move this seat to the same diametric opposite location here. And she can still get into this seat, and she will be getting into this seat. She'll be powering up this seat. But more importantly, if you look now, the radio room now has a view, and so do the nav charts. So they can see out the front of the vessel too. I'm going to take this flight podium and we're going to duplicate it. Edit, duplicate node, and then take this guy here and flip him to here. And then we're going to invert him. So we're going to go to -100. I'm going to call this prime flight control podium. We're going to put this on the pilot couch. Right? So if you are the pilot, you've got this. Now, I'm also going to move this out more because I like it to be centered here. There we go. So now when we look at the camera, we're looking at Mayrel, but we also have now the pilot side over here. And you can kind of see how they've got two twin consoles that work really well together in concert. And this gives us the ability to show a power-up sequence of the vessel if we need to. And we've got kind of the concert seats for controlling the vehicle are here. So that's how this is going to work. The left seat's the pilot seat, so that's this guy here. The right seat then is the navigation console. I'll have to fix these consoles and reverse them so that they mirror at the moment, but we're going to have some different controls for navcom that we're going to have for pilotcom. But I don't think I need that for issue 1, so probably not going to mess with it. We'll have to see. Now moving back after to the back part of the vessel, let's talk a little bit about what's back here. On this side, we're going to have overhead lockers. Right, so this is a locker here. We'll just put it up against the wall, like so. And then we've got an overhead locker to hold all of the charts. We actually probably can have a couple of them. So that'll be useful. It has a door, so we want to make sure that when we duplicate it, which we're about to do, we duplicate with node hierarchies because we want it to duplicate its door as well. So push that back there. And there are our two lockers with. Sorry, guys. So we got these two here, which are connected to this section here, and these are where all your charts are stored. So when they're in space, they can come back here and pull charts out, and it'll be fine. Nobody needs this at this time, so I'm not going to mess with it. Going over here, we're going to put this guy right here and flip him around. So take a console. Let's see if I can get the console in the back there. I'm probably going to regret this because that's a plant on. I might still need that, but not yet. Let's see. Standard consoles. Console 1.1. Locate. Why are the consoles missing? Okay. This is going to be a pain in the butt. All right. Standard console goes here. Kind of looking at the way that we've got this set up. Wrong way. Put this around to about there. Put this right about here. I knew that I was going to lose this top one, which is why I was thinking I was going to just put this guy in here. Right here. And then make that part of this console readout. So this is what. So this is how I'm cheating. How are you going to cheat, guy? I'm going to cheat like this. So I'm just going to put this guy up here. Okay. I have to level it off. But that's not that big of a deal. There we go. This allows me to have a console here, which leans forward. That's going to be kind of uncomfortable for a lot of people. I don't know whether it'll be uncomfortable for our dude or not. We'll have to see. And then I've got PC console back here. I feel like that didn't turn out as dramatic as I expected it to be. I expected that to be a lot more dramatic, and it's not. So there's more room back here than I thought there would be. So I'll put this here. Like so. Right? And then that'll help us a little. Got a little teeny bird out there on my. Got a couple of birds out there. It's cool. Radio room's not looking as dramatic as I wanted it to look. It actually looks pretty Spartan back there. I'm like, where? You have to remember that this part of the spacecraft is going to be, so maybe this is a standalone that stands like right here. Maybe that's the, and then back here is some kind of, control system segment or something. I have standalone lockers. Where are the standalone lockers? Those are poses. I had standalone lockers. Bing bong, bing bong. Well, having a problem with my standalone lockers not being standalone or lockery. Huh. It's interesting that there's no, my standalone lockers don't exist because they weren't mapped properly or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to fix the rest of this first. Right. And put this like this. We'll put it like so. This way, we have the ability to have sort of a control unit back there, but it's open to one side. And we'll put some lockers back here so that you can store stuff. So there's a storage area back here, but we got to get those lockers first. So we'll save. Once we do, we will hit open because there's a room back here somewhere. Interior sets, interiors. Right? People and props, maybe? That's not that long ago. Kittiwake models. Is it unsorted? Chang pose thing. Bridge, Bennett. Unity stars. No. Administration? No. Says me. Well, not sure what to do about this one, folks. There's a file back there that somewhere, maybe it's on my desktop. Pilot house, chain uniform. Okay, no, desktop holding. It's always something in here. Click, 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 click. Look at all these things in here. Okay. You large icons. Characters, symbol, in space. Fred picture, Assault Scout, Enterprise, Destroyer. Changus Harlock. Always a thing. Okay, moving along. Feeling like I'm not finding the things I'm looking for here, which is kind of annoying. Move this up here because it's easier to read. I don't know why I'm having an issue with this particular thing. Apparently I am. Like, there were entire things built. Well, you know what? It's taking long enough now. I could just import the thing. So we just hit import interior locker. All right. It's just easier to just import the thing at this point. Because it'll be, and then I can just add it to the system. It won't be a problem. We'll scale it down a little because it should only be 2 meters tall instead of 20 meters tall, right? Well, there we go. We'll go for surfaces. We'll browse. Right. Interior textures, general items, locker. Right. So it's not that hard to figure out how to fix it. We just didn't have one before, so now the locker exists. So we'll bring it out here so that I can save it. No, don't fall over. Right, so we'll save it as something we can save. Parameters. Minus 90. There we go. And we'll save it in here. Save as subset. Not in furniture. That's not the right spot. Furniture. There we go. The only problem with doing it this way, of course. There we go. Now we'll have a locker in there. That'll work. And put the locker back here. We'll do this, and then we'll move this way, and then we'll go like so. And it's going to need to even be shrunk down just a little bit more so that it's about this big. And that will be back here. There's your lunchroom back here, guys. If you need to have lunch while you're flying along, this is your lunchroom. I move this back here. This is where I'm going to have to put the, federal minimum wage sign is back here. What's the minimum wage? And a reminder that you have a right to an attorney. All right. So I'm going to do this guy and probably ought to be broken. No, not you. You. Moving forward so that he's here. Perfect. And he's just a black spot back here, which is fine. It'll be just fine there. Although I could probably put this sign on the other side of him, and that would be better placed, I think, than where we were. So let's do that. All right. Federal minimum wage is let's do this. That fits. All's good. All right. That's that. Whew, this is taking a lot of effort. But this is a big, important place with a lot of action going on, a lot of things that occur. So I'm not that worried that it's taken a lot of effort. That seems to be fine. I'm actually going to place this guy here, I think. There we go. All right. Now we've got a radio controls section back here where you can talk to the pilot straight up, right back there, and that looks good. That looks solid. Now we'll put in the back walls. I'm going to stand up. All right. There's a generic wall unit into the back. After section goes right here. Question is, which side do we see on the generic wall unit? I feel like this is just... No, I feel like this needs to be flipped. So we'll do 180. It doesn't matter if that's this way. We're okay. Okay, so this is wide enough for one generic wall unit, but it does look like it needs to be slightly inbiginated so that we can get it to fit back here. So that's going to be back there. This works. We will go on ahead and modify that in a second with something else, but for right now, this is what we're doing. Do a generic door unit. Goes right here. Just like this one, we'll probably want to inbiginate it slightly. I have to see this in a different view here. Let's see in the wire. Wow. Never mess with that ever again. Wireframe. Woo, doggy. So I feel like this guy should be lined straight up. Remember that the door. There we go. That's what we want. Right there. And this guy can be like this. And that'll work. camera set up for this, so we can kind of see what it looks like across here. I feel like somebody's turned on Swampy. Probably means my beloved partner is home. All right, we're getting there. Guys, this is coming along very nicely. I know you're like, gosh, this is taking forever. It is taking forever. It's kind of why I put off putting this together, but on the flip side, this is a vital and critical section of the spacecraft, so there's that. So moving around this forward bridge piece, the partner is driving back to Boulder. Does make me wonder what my partner is doing. Like, I don't know what my partner is doing. I was looking forward to having lunch with said partner, hoping she's not just, disappearing on me. But I wanted to go do stuff. Well, yeah, but I want to do stuff too. I'll take this other plant on. Here, we're just going to put it across the top. And the top view. Oh, what did I do with that thing? All right, we'll just duplicate you temporarily since we're already here. Duplicate node. Doesn't need anything further. It is what it is. So that fits just fine. Those overhead lockers, so we don't have to worry about those guys. And I managed to lose plant on 3. Why did I do this to myself? Yeah. Plant on 3 is going to be, we're just going to use this as a block. So and if we're going to use this as a block, we might actually just go on ahead and bring these guys back to their normal size because they're kind of oversized right now and they would fit weirdly. So, and frankly, I don't remember what their regular size was. So we may have to load a new one in. We'll see. For right now, we're doing the planton up here. So these plantons are extremely useful for me because I use them for all kinds of weird crap like this. And that way I don't have to build specialized structures up there. It just looks like a piece of the header roof, and I'll just put a big vent on it or something, and it'll be fine. And then I can black out the rest of that with just a black board, and it'll be also fine. So here we go, guys. We are getting much, much closer to this forward cockpit area here. And kind of getting an idea of what the pilot house looks like up front. It's great. I'm also thinking of maybe taking this and moving the seat back just a hair, like so that the pilot has clean view to either direction. That's coming through the wall completely. I don't like that. Can't come through the wall. There we go. Means we're gonna have to work on that, but we'll get there. Okay, that's just weird. So is this. So we'll just kill these walls back here, and then we'll come back and fix it. Putting in real walls. Fine. Generic wall. Work. Come back here. Rotate 180 degrees. Generic door. Work. Come back here. Rotate 180 degrees. Look what we did before. Back view. Click this guy. Because it has to be lined up with the door. That's fine. Now we can do the front view. And then we'll duplicate node, go over here and do that. And this guy can be this tall. You must be this tall to be a planton in this room. Make it as wide as that. Click there. Camera view. Looking here, a little taller to there. There we go. We'll have to still fix those plantons and stuff like that. We've got some work to do still in the texture zone, because of course the main walls are not textured yet, and we will have to texture those guys in. It's not a problem. Should be fine. But we're getting closer to at least the geometries that we want in here. So we'll save it. Okay. And I mean, frankly, it's not running slow. So even with all these textures in here, it's still not running slow, which is a good sign. I'd been worried that it would start running slow, but it's not. All right. We're getting closer, guys. We're getting much, much closer. Okay, so now we will go. We've got most of the control panels in. We've got the radio room over there. That's good. But there's not a lot of room here, is there? And looking at this gap here, first of all, I feel like this guy's probably too far back. Right? This guy. He needs to be here. Still looking at this, I'm feeling kind of like this is a little claustrophobic back here. Like, how do you get into this seat at all? How do you get around it to go to this little... fine. Didn't want to do this, but I guess it's this way. It's just the only reason I don't want to do this because it's a boring wall. It's boring when it's this way. That's all. This is much more exciting this way, but it's not. I mean, really, it's not a problem. We can just means one more thing we need to dress you up, and that'll be fine. We'll do that. So the hallway out here is going to be the other side, and that'll be fine. That'll be fine. We'll get this. We'll get this straightened up. We'll have to go in here, but we need that room way too badly. And we can't get into this couch at all if the room isn't set up this way. And we should set up the crash couch for our dear Shakrana, because he's going to be in here. This is where Gunny sits. So you remember the Shakrana are three-legged critters, and they sit on the chair like this so that they can put their arms up on the control consoles. So they sit chest down on the back of these chairs. That's their seating position with one leg to the back. So we're going to have that in here. That way he can get to all of his consoles. I feel like this console's high anyway, so we need to kind of put it like this, and then maybe move it to here, like that. Having moved this wall forward, though, now I can move this guy sort of up against this wall again, and we still got room back there, which is good. And we'll move. Now I'm feeling very much like I'm back to kind of the submarine spaceship feel that I wanted to get originally from this anyway. Right? And we've got kind of a submarine-esque thing going now. You know, if I do this and move this guy to here and actually move it out to that, I could make this into this locker here and just flip it. And it would still fit, and it would still look good. And it would look kind of like the wall intended to go through this thing. You know what I mean? Like, that was its design. Right? And then it would look like it was a part of this unit to some degree. Let's go ahead and just center on it. Then I can bring this out, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this guy and make him the lead of this. So we're going to turn him like so that he fits properly against this wall. Then we're going to make this guy match it. So bring that around like so, and then bring it out like this. And that matches sort of this design over here. Bring it out a little bit so the lines match. There we go. And it makes it look kind of like this was intentional. Like we intentionally stuck these two together. So you have this locker right here. And we've got this guy right here. You know what I mean? Like we're kind of getting kind of a feel of what's going on in this section. Then I can put this guy up against the wall and actually have it be a sign that says, warning, don't do the thing. Whatever the thing is, don't do it. All right, so we'll do this. Remember, do not do the thing. And that can just be a sign of some sort. Maybe I want it down here to kind of indicate that it's a doorway, an access hatch, or an emergency access hatch of some sort. Because this is, like I said, this is a power conduit section right through here. So we could be doing so. This could be used sometime in a future episode as the, open the door to the little crawl space back there, sort of get out of here in case of an emergency because the bad guys are attacking, sort of thing. And it's a crawl space and emergency exit to the deck below. There isn't a deck below. In fact, it could be like a open the door and just fall out into space. All right. It's okay. It works. Gives us a thing. It looks interesting. It has something that's popped up from the background there that looks different. When we're looking at the pilot's chair, and we're going to be looking at the pilot a lot, the background has interest, widgets, things. That's what we're after here, is kind of giving it some texture. All right, let's go in here. Now that we've done this, we'll save this. This is where she'd put flight manuals and things like that. So if she needs it, she can just get up, walk over here, open this locker, get her flight manuals out, look at flight manuals, look at things that she needs to have in case she needs to do something. Like when we're flying along, we don't know. Then she can come over here to this table. And what we should do is also check to make sure all of these things are correct. Poses, Genesis 2. Put her at ease. Make sure that everything is scaled properly. The door looks scaled properly. Okay, good. The table looks scaled properly. Also good. Over here, even this half-height table is fine, or half-height thing is scaled properly. Okay, that's important. Make sure that everything is scaled properly. Otherwise, putting people up here is not going to work like we want it to. All right. Let's go in here. Let's open. We're going to go out to Rising, 3 sets. the forward beak, this guy here. Okay. And then add a layer underneath. This layer is white. Okay. And then we're going to select everything. We're actually going to turn off apply to connected pixels. And then select everything, and that should get us everything internally too. It gets us actually a lot of things that I didn't want to get. So maybe I do want to go on ahead and do the apply to connected pixels only. Because then we can just go like this. We add that. Because it's actually not that hard to just add the gaps that it put in, right? Because it put in some gaps. It's no big deal. Everything else looks fine. We'll go to a new raster layer. And the first thing we're going to do, it just makes it easy to do this. We'll just do a on border 8. Like that just gives us a black line on everything. And this is a good start. Because now we can kind of, at least everything's outlined to begin with. Makes sense. So we'll do that. Because then we can now come in here and we can just take a black line, straight line with an 8. And do things like this, which we know would be in there. Right. Just adding graphic design in here, just a little bit of graphic design to kind of give this some feel of a kind of a lived-in effect. Like it's a machine of some sort. That's what we're after. So we're going to do that. The table is going to need some assistance here. And we'll make it into a space, table, as usual. We'll do this. We're just giving it graphic design to fit. Like so. Give it a little bit of graphic design so that it kind of sticks out a little. This also makes it feel like we've got more widgets and things in the background kind of going on. It adds to the effect. Those are probably not even remotely lined up, which is all be in different places. I'm going to regret that. First thing I know I can do is this. There we go. When they do actually have hologram capability, which they only have outside of InSpace, at least there will be a spot in the center of the table for it, which will work. And again, we'll add a little bit of graphic design so that it feels like it's the Denise and Michael Okuda effect. We just add a whole bunch of black line tape and it works. Everything feels correct when you do that. So we're going to do that. Come along here. and decide that graphically the pillar is a thing. So we'll do that. And then this is going to need a line that goes like so. A line that goes like so. Here's that line. On this side, so we're just going to leave it like this. On the other side, so it's got a little side feel to it. And to make it where that PC console is. So I'll make that black. Right. I'm a firm believer that it's believable if you actually like put some engineering into it. So we're putting engineering into this. That's making it more believable. We're making it feel like it's much more of a spacecraft because I'm set building effectively. It is a little crazy. It's a little out there. There's a lot of stuff going on that you could sit there and go, well, guy, did you really need to do that? And the answer, of course, is no. Of course, I did not need to do this. But in doing this, I've added a certain amount of value to this that is complicated and difficult, and it looks like a thing, and it looks like a real set of a spacecraft, and you know what I mean, like and. And as I keep reminding people, I only need to do this once. Once this is done, we don't need to do it again. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the roof. I feel like this is full of struts, kind of indicating that it's full of struts. All right. On this same token, I'm going to do a little bit of like some sort of graphic design to go with this that works. I feel like right about here is that open centerpiece section where we're going to have a window that goes up. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and just not worry about it. What we need to think about, though, is this forward section and how does it manage? How does it apply? This is a raised section of that, and it actually extends like so. And this, I'm just going to put, all I wanted to do was just something that indicated that there was a widget of some sort up here. That's all. That's all we're looking for. Some kind of graphic widget to go there. Now, I'm also feeling like a curve would not go amiss right here. Or right here. There we go. So I'm going to intentionally miss this particular part of the interior section. I'm not really in on that particular piece, but I do think what'll be up here is lights. So we're going to take this polygon, we're going to make it into a circle gon. And make it a circle gon at 8. And I'm going to actually add a new raster layer, and we're just going to add in lights up here because I think that's what's really going to be up here is these lights. Right? So I'm going to draw the light up and make it look pretty. Give it some graphic design. Right? And it's just giving it a little bit of an effect that looks like a light being, kind of with a little shielding on it or whatever. Take this guy right here. We'll just take out the bolts on the side. So we have sort of a feel of what's going on there. Okay. Then we can just duplicate this layer and pull them along and have a light here. Actually, not that often. Maybe there. All right. I'll duplicate it. Bring it all the way across to right there. We duplicate it and we bring it forward to here. Noticing that this is not centered, so I'm going to move him forward until he's centered in the square. Same thing here. I'm going to center this guy in the square so that way they'll look even. And duplicate him. Is that you that got duplicated? No. Who got duplicated? No. Yes. And that's what it'll be right here, is this light. It'll be dead center right there. And that'll be okay. It shows us sort of there are lights in here that come on that sort of light up the room, that kind of thing. So we'll go ahead and turn off this piece because that's not helping us any. All of this can just stay whatever color it is. I don't care. It's not really important. The rest of these look like they're fine. So I'm going to go on ahead and turn that off real quick and then just merge everything so that it's all one line like this. And then we're going to save it. Save as. I call this the JPEG, and that'll be the forward beak windows JPEG. Right, and that'll save up there. And that'll allow us then to grab this piece right here, this beak windows here. We'll go to surfaces, Pilot House beak. We'll go browse, interiors, interior textures, go into the Pilot House, right? We've got these forward beak windows right here, right? Take the specular color, turn it off, okay? We take the ambient color, raise it all the way up. And now we have interior lights, and it looks like a thing. I actually am going to turn it down to a little bit less than that, just so it has a little bit of a shading to it, just a slight amount of shading. It's interior and yada, yada, yada. We kind of want it to be a little shady, you know. And then I also want to make sure that I put in here that the beak windows, like control pillar, forward beak windows, is part of the ambient color. Otherwise, it won't render properly. Okay, so now we have all of our lights up here kind of are in. One thing I'm noticing is that this pillar has gone past the roof. We're gonna have to fix that in the artwork, but that's not that big of a deal. But now when you look forward, I think 8 is too thick, is what I'm thinking. But all the windows are in and stuff is kind of working. And you can now kind of see what's going on up here. Right? I feel like 08 is way too thick for these walls. It's going to be too thick for the rest of this artwork. I'm going to have to do it in a 02 or something to that effect. It's going to be a little bit different, but that's okay. Now, this raised podium is where this guy goes. All right, so we're going to come over here. We're going to do this. This raised podium is exactly where this guy belongs. If you recall, on the bridge, we had these control panels too. Right, this panel set was on the bridge. So there we go. We'll make sure that it's slightly sideways. Now, to confirm that this is not just a weirdness of a vagary of my maps, I'm going to go ahead and hit render. I'm warning you guys ahead of time because every time I hit render, the entire system slows. So we're going to have to do this so that you can make sure that you don't wonder what's going on. It doesn't look that horrible. We're going to go ahead and hit our render settings. Go to general settings. So we can see what we're looking at. All right. Thanks. Yeah. It's like, well, you got 2 monitors. We populate all your monitors. Let's not. Okay. So actually, it does not look bad at all. We obviously have to fix the floor. We'll come up with that next. That's not a big deal. But in general, this is looking pretty solid. Those forward control panels look good. We've got this guy looks pretty solid up here, except that he's got the wrong ambient map. It's not a big problem. Really not a horrible fix on any of these things. The seats look solid. Controls look solid. Everything looks pretty good. If you render this as a PNG, all of those windows will be, they'll have an alpha mask, so they'll be empty. So all I have to do is just put them into the comic and then put stars behind them going, wah. We're good. It works perfectly. Whatever we need to do there will work just fine. So the only thing I'm not happy with is really legitimately these interior lines right here and these lines. Well, maybe just these lines need to be just half their size. So that's not a big deal. It's going to be easy to fix. Won't be a problem. But they don't look as bad as they do here. They look really crappy there, but that's because it needs to render. So let's render the other direction and take a look at the other direction and see what we've got coming in from this side of the pilot house. So looking back and aft. Yeah, see, that looks pretty solid as well. It looks very much like you'd expect some kind of forward cockpit area to look like of a larger spacecraft. The Kittiwake, being a Corvette, is a larger aircraft. It's a big plane, effectively. It's just a plane with 5 levels. So the cockpit's going to be somewhere between an airplane cockpit and a bridge. The pilot house on, say, a destroyer will look completely different because it'll be bigger. It'll actually probably house a lot of the bridge functions, and you may have more of an emergency bridge. So that's kind of what's going on there. I'm liking where we are on this. This looks solid. I feel like we're getting really close to things looking what they need to look like. It has design, it has character. I need to fix a few small minor problems, but nothing big. Everything looks like it's pretty clear and clean. So I'm not that worried. We're getting to, I knew it was going to take some time to get in here and do this right, but we got there. Hitting the go button on this, right? Why are seats not showing their inverted colors? They should show their inverted, but they're not. That's weird. I'll work on that. There's a couple of little fixes that need to happen, just a little things. But yeah, we are almost there with the pilot house. This is a big set. Like I said, it's a big monster set. I see like little errors that I'm going to need to go in there and fix. But it's not bad. Looks like it's going to be fine. Good. Pilot house exists. I don't know why these are not showing their inverted color, though. That's kind of weird. Go over here and take a look at the tactics area back here. Yeah, see, that's not... Even that table looks pretty solid. I could probably put some kind of monitor thing painted on the wall back here when we come back into the set, and it should be fine. So, yeah, hey. We're getting there, guys. This is the chart area. Looks good. I feel like my chair still needs lines. It's going around corners and it's not doing... Doesn't look right. Like there's no lines on here. We may have to go back in and fix this guy's widget or whatever. Okay, good. So here's what we're going to do. The next thing we're going to do is this plane. We're going to rename this to pilot house. Okay. We're going to place everything that belongs to the pilot house under that, right? So this weird little planton is going to need to go into here, and everything except for the pilot, the navigation and pilot couches are going to go in here. And the reason is because we want to be able to. Where did I put it? Oh, wait. Whoa. What happened here? Oh, I just lost track of where I was. That's all. Pilot house. Console type 1. Not the crashed couch. Locker. Planton 3. Generic wall. Generic door frame. And generic wall. Now this puts everything that's in this scene underneath pilot house. So if I were to turn off the pilot house, that turns off just the floor, but theoretically it should turn off everything, and it doesn't, because that's the nature of this beast, but that's okay. Okay, we have about one more show's worth of work on the pilot house, and then the pilot house will be done. So tonight's show should be the end of us working on this. We'll fix some of the little pieces, problems that we've got, some errors that are kind of going on. We'll fix those. We'll set up our lighting and our ambience, so that the ambient lighting will have some color to it. That's the way we want it to be, and we'll set that up as well. And then we will do some other minor fixes on this, and then this guy will be out the door. Once it is, we can set up all of our rig for it, and that will be great, because that's what we need to do, is start having people, start rigging in here so we can get all of our scenes that are in the pilot house squared away, because we've got some good scenes back here in this section of the ship. So, all right, guys, pilot house. Tell your friends. All right. Looks like the cockpit of an airplane, which kind of in a way it is. So we've got this set now. So this is rigged. We've got some minor fixes we're going to have to work on here. Won't be a big deal. But there we go. Okay. I'll save it. And we're locking it down. Okay, we're good. Next thing's next. We'll do this tonight. We'll see you again. And until then, bye-bye, everybody. Keep your eyes on the stars, right? Keep your eyes on the stars.